All right, we are live. What up, players? Welcome to episode 184 of Player Life. Today we have a guest on the show by the name of JJ. JJ is from France and has been living in Japan, like me, I'm not actually sure how long JJ's been here, but I've been here for 6 years, so we can get into that. So, what's up, JJ?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Mac? What's up,
Yeah.
guys?
Um, yes. So, how long have you actually been in Japan? Actually,
Whoa, whoa! Like for a while. I mean, yeah. Like in total, like 15 years. Like since
15. All right.
2006. So, yep,
Holy shit. OG. Yeah,
yep.
man. That's like I've been here like over six, like
Mhm.
six and some change. So you know the game, the Japanese game more than me, man.
Yep. Well, got a lot of experience, and yeah, happy to share on that. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. So that's why we're here. Just why I wanted to get you on the show, to talk about, just talk about game. Um, so what you've been here 15 years. When was that? What year did you arrive in Japan?
Oh, so that was like 2006 initially.
2006.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
So
So
what was it like when you arrived? First, well, just give yourself a brief introduction first before we get
yeah,
into
sure.
that. You know.
Yep, no problem. So yeah, originally yeah from France, and then came to Japan for university. Basically, I had like no specific like hard interest for Japan, but I was like, yeah, just go and check it out. Basically, that was my stance at the time, and that was it. So yeah, just came here for university. Basically, that's what it was. I already had like a game um, experience in France, in Europe in general. So yeah, I had to learn. I mean, not really learn, but to adapt to Japan, basically in terms of game, because it's yeah pretty much different. Yeah, but
Right.
of course there's also a lot of similarities. Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of similarities. It just needs to be fine tuned over here, right?
yep, hundred
Yeah.
percent. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like in 2006?
Whoa, I mean, it was completely different. You would have like Gyaru, Gonguro. I'm not sure if you know that style of girls. Like Gonguro is basically even more makeup. I mean, recently like Gyarus, so gals, Japanese guys. I'm not sure if the audience know what they are, but you have like less and less basically. So in 2006, you had like way more of those. So it was way more open. Yeah, you wouldn't have a lot of foreigners as well compared to now. I mean, especially in Tokyo, uh, the countryside as well. But yeah, like over the years, the population of foreigners it increased, and especially Asian foreigners, right? Like yeah, I mean Vietnamese, Filipinos, I mean you name it. So yeah, it was way different back in the day. And I would say, well, basically the main difference was online game. Definitely, I think
Oh,
we chatted a bit about that offline. Online game, like yeah, basically changed the whole picture. Definitely.
yes. So 2006 online game was pretty much
Nah,
non-existent.
nothing. Yeah, you would have to basically cold approach, right? So cold approach, yeah, do bars, events, nightclubs. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
I mean, we,
there was
yeah,
probably some shitty online dating websites, but
yeah,
not like that.
they were, but nothing like Tinder and stuff like
Right.
that. Like they were like Mixi. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. Mixi at the time, that was like a Japanese website. That's like yeah, the old line. I mean, there was no apps back in the day, like no, of course, like iPhones and stuff like that. So, but yeah, there was a few like websites similar to like maybe today, like I don't know, like OkCupid or those kind of sites, right? But again, it was yeah, nothing at all. You'd have to yeah, cold approach
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
So I presume online game was popping then too. Like, I mean, because that was
Y-
how most people met, right?
Yep. Yeah, yeah, at the time as well. Yeah, you could have like some leads with online game, but again, like yeah, you would have to be like I would say fairly good looking. Um, Otherwise, yeah, the results you were going to get online, yeah, were probably not as good as the results you're going to get by cold approaching, basically. So yeah,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's. I mean, it's still the same. I mean,
I mean
that's.
it is
I mean,
definitely.
that's like.
Yeah.
You know, we don't. I don't pull any punches about the reality of dating. Like it's like the better you look, the higher the probability of
Yep.
the girl allowing you to talk to her. Because
Hmm.
initially,
Yep.
it's very important, right?
Yeah.
You need to look
100%.
as you need to reach a certain standard for them
Yes.
to allow you to talk to them. Because
Exactly.
Japanese girls are pretty like they're pretty harsh. Like in they're not like, they're just very different compared to Western girls. A Japanese girl being very harsh, she will literally ignore your existence. Like I'm sure you know all about. If you've done any, if anyone has done
Oh
any
yeah.
dating in Japan, they're very aware of this. What I'm talking about. They'll
Yeah.
ignore your existence. They literally won't even like. They'll pretend you're not. They won't even acknowledge you're talking. They won't even blink. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they'll totally look. They'll look through you. It's amazing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a
I
fine
mean,
art.
yeah, 100%. And well, there's a reason for that, especially in Tokyo, because you have like all those scouts, basically the scouts. So those are the guys trying to recruit girls for like girls bars, kabakura, like you name it, right? You have the scouts. You also have like the Japanese guys doing nampa, right? And basically, this has like a bad connotation to it. So I mean, can you imagine like being a hot Japanese girl, like a 8 plus whatever, walking down in Shibuya? Like how many times people are going to approach you, right? Like from the moment you get out of the gates of the station until you reach, I don't know, the bar, like wherever you're going. So there is a reason for that, right? That
Right.
they're going to ice you definitely. Yeah, she cannot
Yeah.
waste time for every single guy approaching her. Yeah, so that's raising
Right.
the bar for sure.
For anyone who doesn't know, Shibuya is like the famous crossroads in Japan. You've probably seen it on footage. You know, the extremely busy crossroads. I think the busiest crossroads in the world, pedestrian crossroads. Um, for anyone who doesn't know, Shibuya basically it's like a double-edged sword. It has incredible amounts of hot girls condensed into a very small area. Like there's hundreds at any one time. There's hundreds of bangable hot girls in Shibuya. The other side of the sword is that they're all very aware of getting approached, right? It's this like it's like I like to compare it to some kind of outdoor nightclub with no music.
Hmm.
It's basically like the same kind of vibe because girls have their guard up extremely high because it's so known for Nampa and scouts, like you
Yeah,
said. So girls will absolutely 100% know that they're going to be approached if they look hot. And
yeah.
even if they don't look hot, to be honest, I mean, it's just a crazy spot, actually, Shibuya.
Oh yeah, one hundred
Um,
percent. Yeah, and you do have like a few spots like that in central Tokyo, right? Like Shinjuku, of course, obviously Shinjuku, Shibuya. Yeah, a few spots like that, and usually, I mean, with experience, you can tell if, let's say, okay, this girl is in like Shibuya every day, or maybe she's just a girl from like further down, maybe Chiba or Saitama, and she's just coming in there, and then the probability of her talking to you is higher, definitely. So yeah, with experience, you learn a lot about that as well.
yeah, it's interesting. You know, some of the girls from the countryside will be will be much more receptive, but Tokyo girls will be
Yeah.
very cold, very like they're more likely to pull the ice ghosting
Hmm. Yeah.
technique. I guess they figure out these techniques and they must work over time. They must figure
Yeah.
out, okay, if I just ghost this guy and don't acknowledge, it's more effective for
Yeah.
them to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, of
mm,
course, because yeah, like again, like I was saying, like, can you imagine like the girl stopping and talk to each one of those guys, like approaching her? It's impossible. She'll never get to where she needs to be, right? So
no,
that's why.
no, I'm not. I totally understand it. I mean, I don't even. I'm not criticizing their technique. I'm not like, hey, bitch, you should be talking to. No, I
Yep.
I get it 100%. I mean, if
Yeah.
you've ever been to like, you know, some tourist destination in some Southeast Asian country, you can kind of understand what it's like to be a hot chick,
Yeah,
because if you're a tourist in one of those destinations, you get approached by all the guys trying to sell you things, and
yeah,
trying to bring you to their bars or whatever, and it becomes like extremely annoying. I don't know
sure.
have you ever been to Bali?
No, never.
Yeah, I mean the Kuta is the city in Bali. I mean it gets to a point where it's extremely annoying. Like
Yeah.
like you're literally trying to just walk, and there's people coming at you. Like
Whoa.
it's
Yeah.
man, it's
Yeah.
even to be honest. I mean, I've been to Kabukicho a few times just when I first came to like walking through. For anyone who
Mhm.
doesn't know, Kabukicho is like it's not only a red light district, but it's a whole kind of area in Tokyo. It's an interesting spot to go to. It's
Yeah.
not only if when you first come to Japan, it's an interesting place because it's like full of neon lights. It's kind of a very trippy spot. So I used to like walking there, but became very sometimes it's just even less so today. I think a bit less, but when I first came, it would be borderline extreme annoying because you get approached by the scouts trying to
Yeah.
take you to the nightclubs or rip off bars or the sex industry spots,
Yeah.
which
I mean,
I had no interest in going to, and I never will go to them. But
yeah.
like you probably know what I'm talking about, the African guys mainly, but
Oh yeah, oh yeah, of course. And
I,
I mean, still today, I have a lot of friends that work in the nightlife industry, like a bar, like bars, clubs, and stuff like that. And still, like, yeah, Roppongi, especially Roppongi and then Shinjuku, Kabukicho, yeah, it's still the case where they'll just like, yeah, spam approach all the time. So no wonder those girls are, yeah.
yes,
And to
spam
touch a
approach.
little bit like on
You,
the
you kind of
international
get an
game.
idea, right?
Oh yeah, of course. And yeah, and you mentioned like
You
Bali,
kind of
or
get an idea.
I have like I have like thousands of stories where some of the Japanese girls I know, yeah, they go to another country and then they get approached all the time as well. So yeah,
Yeah, man, it's like yeah, you just got that's why game is so fucking important, right? Because you need to not be one of those just another fucking annoying guy, right?
yes,
You need to be
exactly,
different. You need to stand out. You need to have something different about you. You can't just be another dude, right?
yeah,
That's why game in Japan is like game anywhere is important, but like there's this idea that you just come to Japan and it's gonna be easy mode. It's such bullshit, right?
oh yeah, hundred
Garbage, man.
percent, yeah,
Like it's pure lies. Like I mean, there's only a tiny subsection of the society that you possibly have it on easy mode with, but even I would argue you don't even have it on easy mode with them because they're only on easy mode for a very brief period in their life, and I'm talking about Gaijin hunters. For
yes,
anyone that doesn't know, Gaijin hunters are girls that kind of fetishize foreign guys, and I wish that I wish it was a thing where most Japanese girls did, but it's not. It's a subsection of the
yeah.
society. Would you would agree with that?
Oh yeah, 100%. And most of the time, unfortunately, those gaijin hunters, they're not even like the most attractive girls, right? And I mean, the point you make is 100% correct. That yeah, if you come to Japan and think it's going to be easy, then yeah, you're totally wrong. It's going to be hard because like Japanese standards and even like Japanese girls, like the normal Japanese, like the hot girl, she's not even interested in foreigners. She already has like a lot of like high quality, like good Japanese guys. She can date like doctors, pilots, whatever. So why would she care like dating like low end, like just like regular plain gaijin, right? So yeah, you have
Right.
to be careful of that as well. You need like a reality check, right? Because otherwise you're just like disconnected basically. Yeah.
Right. And Japanese guys are much more willing to spend a lot more money on. They're basically willing to pay for these girls, like
Oh
for
yeah.
like buy them gifts, like
Yeah.
because it's expected culturally that
Yeah.
men kind of buy things for them.
Yeah.
before they'd even have sex sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially like, if they're older,
Hmm.
like they would buy them like a bag or something
Yeah.
before, like to seal the deal.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Like
I remember we talked about that offline at one point. We were talking about the saifu otokos, right? Like the the walking wallet, basically. And yeah, it's part of the culture here.
yeah,
So yeah, basically like simping. That's what it is. So yeah, so
yeah.
you got to be careful about that as well.
You'll see the most incredibly hot girls with the dorkiest looking
Yeah,
Japanese men, like serious. And it's not that all Japanese men are dorks, but I'm just saying sometimes you see, like, a lot of the time you'll see some seriously dorky looking dudes, like terrible fashion sense, like terrible hairstyle. They're just kind of maybe there's some lawyer or some doctor or something, but they will be with one
yeah,
of the hottest girls you can ever imagine. Um, it's very, it's just funny to see it, but you get very used to it actually, because
yeah,
it's like such a normal thing to see.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I mean, they yeah. If you want like Rollo Tomas says, right, like genuine burning desire, then yeah, that's only if you have like a certain level in looks, right? Like usually what I always say is that, I mean, you have like the three categories, right? Like looks, then you have a status, money. That goes together, and then you have like social intelligence, right? Like game, those kind of things, like interpersonal skills. So whatever you lack in one category, you have to compensate in the other, um, because if not, then you're not getting like genuine burning desire, right? You're getting yeah, like a bit of box side of things. So if
Right.
you're happy with that, that's totally fine. And actually, like a lot of Japanese guys, a lot of Japanese friends, they're happy with that. They'll just be paying because that's what it is. But yeah, you got to
Yeah.
know what you're getting into, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, this idea, basically we were chatting yesterday about the idea that we're not all the same, we're not all equal.
Hmm.
It's not like, oh, we can just, you learn these magic words and you're just kind of like, you be able to walk up to a girl and say this, and she's going to come home and sleep with you. It's like such bullshit, right? It's garbage.
Yeah,
Like, it's trash. Like, there's no truth to it at all. It's
yeah,
like, another thing, one guy, like if he's handsome enough and has reasonably good game, he can go and smash the girl on the first date, right? But
yeah.
another guy, if he doesn't look as good, he might have to. It might take him like 3 dates. Like, that's the cold hard truth, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And
Yeah, because, and I think guys need to understand that. Like, they need to understand. They need to look at themselves in the mirror and say,
yeah,
what I like. What am I physically? What do I look like? How can I improve myself? Like, how can I become better looking? What can I do? Can I wear better clothes? Like, what
yeah,
do I need to hit the gym? Because this is like, we're not all fucking the same. Like, we're not all the same. Like, it's just some guys will have it easier and this isn't like some black pill where it's like, oh, just give up. No, but it's like you can always improve yourself. You'll always be able to get more pussy if you try harder. But yeah, that's the reality. It's not like there's. That's why game has to. It's kind of like, it's not a one size fits all solution. You can tell, like, you yesterday you said, one thing will work for, there's levels to game, right?
yeah.
Do you want to talk about the levels?
D- Definitely. I mean, 100%. Like, yeah, like what's going to work for one guy is not going to work for another guy, right? Because the problem is there's so many parameters, right? So we touched a little bit on like, yeah, looks, status, money, and then interpersonal skills. But on top of that, yeah, like so many different layers to it, and it takes time to become good. But the problem that I see quite often is you'll have like a guy teaching game or something like that, just saying that, yeah, it's going to be easy, just say this and that's what's going to happen and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's not like that. You have to yeah, be careful, and there's yeah, again, yeah, a lot of layers. Like when you're a beginner, let's say you're not comfortable talking with people. Let's say like even guys, you're not comfortable talking with guys at a bar or something like that, then you trying to walk up to a girl and just cold approach, you're going to be, yeah, totally, you're going to be creepy, like so to say, right? That's normal.
Mm.
So you have to be aware of the work you have to put in, but you also have to be aware of like what you can attain, right? Because that's
Right.
definitely the truth. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, when girls use the word creepy, it's like it might not even necessarily be that the guy's creepy, but it's just that her idea, her perception of him is creepy, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it's like because she knows why the guy's trying to talk to her, right? She knows that he's trying to hook up with her. Basically, all women know this. Like even when they pretend not to. Like if a
yeah,
guy approaches them, they kind of know what's going on. Like especially if it's in a bar, they know the guy's trying to hit on them or something. So they're envisioning this guy like trying to like hook up with them, and that kind of repulses them. So that's why they call it creepy. It might not
oh yeah,
necessarily be the guy's being behaving creepy at all, but it's just like, yeah, girls are like savages, you know. They're like female sexual nature is much more savage than most guys like understand, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, 100%. Like, and a good example would be, okay, should you direct cold approach, or should you do like some indirect cold approach, right? And the advice I would give to a newbie, a guy beginning in game, always go direct at first, because like you said, 100%, she's going to find your approach like a little bit creepy. You're going to say, oh hey, like where's the post office and whatever, and then try to sneak your way in. That's what she's going to find that like creepy, right? So for like a new guy, I would always recommend, yeah, go direct first, so the intent is clear. Because when you're like intermediate or advanced guy, even with, you can say pretty much anything, the intent is going to be there, and she's going to feel that, oh, okay, that guy's, he's smooth, he knows what he's doing, right? But when you're a beginner, yeah, just go direct, because most
Right.
of the time, yeah, you'll just come off as weird and creepy. Yeah,
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, you know, where you know, when you become really good at game, you can mix and match and play around
yeah,
because you just have that underlying confidence.
yeah,
And it's really like kind of an unshakable confidence because you've had so much success before. So there's such a
yeah,
genuinely solid foundation. It's like you build a house on a concrete foundation. Like that's all those lays that you've gotten, all those success stories. That gives you this rock solid like foundation, right? Where like
yeah.
none of these bitches can take that away from you. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
like
you're
they
grounded.
can't really shake that. Even if they reject you or like tell you to fuck off, you're still gonna walk away from the thing feeling fine when you
Yeah,
get to a certain level of game because you've already had so much success and you know it works.
hmm,
So this is a type of thing that women find incredibly attractive too. When you're like so unfazed by their by any kind of rejection,
hmm,
um,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and that's a very difficult position for guys to envisage themselves being in, because most guys kind of get feel crushed after they get rejected, right?
yeah,
Like they feel like totally dejected. Like the girl, it's unlikely to happen in Japan, but in Western countries, some girls might even tell you to fuck off,
oh
something
yeah,
like that. Yeah,
yeah,
so Japan is less likely for that to happen. Admittedly, they have other ways of rejecting in Japan, as we know.
yeah,
But how did you like, you know, so how did you start getting into? You said you did some game in France. Like,
yep.
how did you start getting into game? Like,
Well,
by cold, I guess you mean cold approach, right?
oh yeah, yeah. Back in France, I was, yeah, cold approaching. Basically, I would, yeah, just like see my friends doing it. I would say like fairly normal, just like a regular dude, right? Like you, like at first you go with your friends at the bar, you go to talk to some chick, and then from there, I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, in France and in Europe in general, because you can talk to a stranger. I mean, in France, you'd be at the bus stop and there's a girl right next to you. You're going to say, hey, oh, the bus is late, or something like that. That's something that's not happening in Japan. So the background is a little bit different, right? So I was more like, yeah, no problem, just like, hey, chat up. And then, like you mentioned, if you build up on successes, then yeah, you're grounded. And then whenever you're going to approach a girl, you don't fear rejection, because you know that, okay, it's not about me. It's just, I don't know, she's not available, she's not into me, that kind of thing, right? So yeah, that's how
Right.
it started. So when I came to Japan, I was very aware of that. That sometimes people tend to forget that, like, doing cold approach in Japan is not like socially accepted as well. You can like, for example, depending on the situation, the girl, even if she's into you, she'll feel like slut shamed or something like that. I
Right.
don't know. Like
Yeah.
you can approach like like, let's say there's three girls. You approach one girl, she's into you, but she's not going to give you her contact details because she doesn't want to appear as a slut in front of her friends, right? And that's something you got to understand. You got to be
Right.
aware. Otherwise, you're going to be like totally disconnected.
Yeah, man. That's you hit on an interesting point there. Like this is where like real game comes into play, like social calibration,
Yeah,
understanding social situations, being able to read the air, being able to, I tell guys like it's not, you need to be socially calibrated, not like, I tell guys when you approach a girl, you have to not, like, you have to do it with full conviction, like fully, committed to the approach, right? But that doesn't mean you just like blurt, like just start shout. Like you have to be appropriate for whatever environment you're in. And a lot of guys are very terrible at that when they
yeah,
first start off. That's something you get good at over time by doing like tens, hundreds, like even thousands. Like that takes a lot of time, right? A lot of like
yeah,
very customizing your approach to each situation, right? It's like it's not all just one like the same thing. It's totally different. Each, like if you approach a girl in a library, it's completely different to a street approach, right?
yeah,
Like a lot of guys just have no idea. Like they have no idea how to do it. Like um, I see this kind of often when I in Tokyo, when I see guys like being completely inappropriate
yeah.
in certain environments. Like they'll be in a bookstore or a coffee shop, and they'll be like, "Excuse me, hello, do you speak English?" And she'll be so
Oh,
embarrassed, like she'll be
yeah,
bright red because everyone will fucking hear them, like
yeah,
everyone will hear them. And it's like you're not like like in that environment, you like you lower the tone of your voice, you're doing it for her sake.
yeah.
It's not really for your sake. It's so that she will not feel embarrassed and that she'll be more likely to talk to you, give you the number, and ultimately end up having sex with her, which is the goal, right?
Oh,
um
yeah, yeah. Make it easy
yeah,
for her.
yeah, you got to make it easy for them. That's like that's what game is pretty much, right?
Yeah,
um
yeah, yeah. We talked a little bit about that, but yeah, I mean, game is, yeah, just adapting to the situation, being able to screen, and again, I understand, like, if you're a new guy, you're gonna get a lot of rejection because it's normal. But you got to be smart about it. Like you said, you cannot just, like, okay, go to the train station, go to the gates, and just like spam approach every girl that's coming out of the gate. Yeah, it's not gonna work. You're gonna look like a creep or a scout or something like that. So there's a way to do it. You got to be smart about it.
okay, so let's this some guy in the chat says, um not the real Carl says, I think most game is not real. It's like bullshit. But like we're very honest though about like, I was talking at the start of the podcast, like exact, looks are important. Like we're not lying. Like you need to pass a certain standard. That's why, so what would you how would you respond to this?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, again, you got to look like, okay, we can talk about SMV, right? Sexual market value, right? So you have an SMV value for guys and you have an SMV value for girls. So can you imagine like a 5 out of 10 guy, just like plain average guy, walking up to a 9 or 10 girl? Then what's going to happen, right? Again, you have to look at it as a whole. Like, people try to divide everything. Okay, looks, and then game, and then money, then status. That's not how it works. Girls will look at you. They look at the whole package, right? And game is only a small part of what is interpersonal skills, right? Your social intelligence and that kind of thing. So Yeah, I mean, you got to learn game, but you got to improve yourself as a whole. But the lie is that, okay, if you learn game, you're gonna raise your SMV by like 4 or 5 points. That's a lie. It's not gonna happen.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's how I would respond to that. Like game is real, but it's, yeah, it's only a small portion of it, right? So like I said, you need to be connected to reality, right? You cannot
Yeah.
sell like I don't know, like an old fat guy. Okay, you're gonna cold approach and you're gonna have success. That's not gonna happen. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, like some guy comes to me and he's fat and dresses like shit
Yeah,
and thinks he's gonna be getting with like even average girls. Like that's how harsh it is. Like that's how honest I am about this whole thing. Like
yeah,
even like you come to me and like I can tell you like real game, good game, and you don't know if you don't look the part, if you don't pass a certain level,
yeah.
then you're gonna struggle. You're gonna have some very low probabilities, and you're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
get very frustrated.
And I mean, like, yeah, don't get it wrong. We're not saying like, okay, like just get up, give up, and because you as a guy, you still have a burden of performance, right? You still got to do what you got to do, but you got to be realistic about it. You cannot like aim too high, otherwise you're gonna burn your wings. So yeah, you gotta be smart about it.
Yeah, man, you gotta be like you got to be very objective about yourself. Like you said earlier, if you're lacking in some category, like
Yeah,
in the money aspect, you're gonna have to like in whatever aspect it is. If you're
yeah,
lacking in the physicality, you're gonna have to dress really well, right?
yeah.
You're gonna have to dress really well. You're gonna have to wear good cologne. You're gonna have to be like, your fashion's gonna be really need to be on point, and then you're gonna need to have good game and stuff like that. But even so, like you should be aiming to be aim high in all categories, right?
Yeah.
You should be
Oh yeah.
trying, like, you're gonna feel better as a man as well, like in all aspects of your life if you do that. Like if you dress well and you're trying to get money and all this stuff, you're gonna feel better. It's like a good life strategy as well. So
Yeah, I
um,
mean, 100%. You can just look it. You can look at it that way. Like, okay, you have a girl, a given girl, and she has a choice between like a 6 or 7 guy, which she's going to choose, right? Let's say they're fairly similar in terms of looks and then money status. Then if the guy has game, meaning like he's smooth, and yeah, she's going to choose that guy. So yeah, you can look at that way. Yeah,
yeah, like I have a friend, my and he's like extremely overweight. I would say obese. Um, but he's out here in Tokyo, and he has a lot of. He's just a very confident guy. Um, so his physicality is like it's on. To be honest, it's like a two. like like he's not ugly to look at. He's just obese. Like his face is not ugly, but he's obese. Like literally not fat, obese. Like you look at this
so,
guy. This guy's fucking fat. like
yeah.
but he makes up for things so much in other categories by being so confident, so smooth, having this like bubbly kind of like this um kind of the life of the party kind of guy.
Yep.
um and he still gets laid even though his physicality is so terrible because he
Oh
makes
yeah.
up for through fashion, having this like this girls like him because he's like bubbly, like he's like
Yep.
he's like singing and stuff, he's like does karaoke, he's like he's that
Yo,
guy at the party where everyone likes to talk to,
of
but
course. Yeah.
he still gets laid, but his probability is still lower. Like
Yeah.
if he like only worked on his physical, like his fitness, he could do so much better. I used to tell him so many times, like I still
Yeah.
tell him, but
Yeah. I mean,
some
of
people
course.
struggle.
Yeah. You're always going to have a niche, right? So maybe you'll have a girl, she's into like a, yeah, like fat guy, or maybe a niche. You'll have a niche for everything. But the thing is, you have to realize that's not the norm, right?
It's
So
not the
if you,
norm, and
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So if you want to increase the quality of girls you're getting with, you're going to work on like all the aspects.
yeah, and when he does hook up with girls, it's like it's hooking up with girls just because he made them feel so good in other ways. Honestly, the cold hard truth is they're not probably not that sexually attracted to him. It's
Yeah.
just that he's such like he made them have such a good time or laugh and things like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that
of
they
course.
end up sleeping with him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not,
yeah,
it's still, it's almost like he's still not going to get he's not going to get that validational sex.
yeah, hundred
It's still,
percent.
it's kind of almost like, it's harsh to say this, but it's like almost like pity sex. It's
Yep.
like he's the fucking, he's the cool guy at the party, he's a funny guy, but you know he's popular, he has a social status, so girls like being around him. But still, when it comes down to the sexual act, it's not like they're not really going to be giving it all that, are
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, of course, because yeah, they are going to compare you basically with her other options. You always have to remember, like a cute girl in like everywhere around the world, not even like Tokyo, whatever. She has like a million of options, right?
I
So yeah,
mean,
you got to think about it.
they're human. Like women are, chicks are human. Like they like fit, athletic men, just like men like hot, sexy, curvy women, right? It's like, you know what I mean? They
Yeah,
have standards too. So it's
of
like,
course, of
you
course,
know, it's
and
just women have, women expect more, pretty much. Just like
yeah,
men, like I said earlier, men are very like simple. As in, we want a feminine, sexy, compliant girl, pretty much. You know,
yeah,
a girl that's like nice to talk to. You know, you can joke around with her, and she's cute or sexy. That's it.
yep.
We don't expect anything else. But women have all this other shit that they want. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
like that they have all these expectations and things.
yeah, of
Um,
course. I mean, yeah, shout out to Rollo Tomasi again. They have like there's two side of it, right? Like the alpha fucks and the beta bucks, right? So she needs to yeah, she look at it that way. So and a lot of guys, we talked about that. Yeah, like game can leave you in a dark place because like the dark side of game, right? Because you're gonna get frustrated, right? Like, oh, why am I not getting the results like guy B or C is getting, right? But the thing is, you got to stop comparing yourself to others.
right.
You gotta compare yourself to yourself and try to improve yourself, and that's what it is. Not just like get bitter because oh, the like girl C rejected me or something like that. So yeah,
Yeah, some guys, like it boils down to like the kind of harsh reality that we're not all the same.
yeah,
All like it's just, that's just the cold hard truth. Like there's gonna be some guys that just you know, are just gonna have it, are gonna get be able to get laid easier than you. That's it. And it's not like a black belt. It's not like saying to give up, but it's like I'm saying you should always be trying to improve. But
yeah,
you can't be comparing yourself. Sometimes it's bad to compare. It can also be said that it can be also motivating a little to have, if some guys are there to motivate you, you know, to show you that you can do better.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, of
but
course, like the mindset is very important, right? And I mean, I always say, you're the only one who can choose how you perceive things, right? You can perceive things in a negative way and just like complain and whatever, or you can just like perceive things in a positive way and then just like yeah, use it as a fuel to improve yourself.
yeah. So I don't know if not the real car is trolling, but he says, "Bro, I used to model for Abercrombie. So if you used to be a model and you have model looks, and you're getting like rejected and getting blown out by chicks, you must have a really like negative aura around you, or like
Yeah,
this guy must have a really negative, like kind of like horrible vibe. If you're approaching girls and they're like, you're either not doing it enough, or you're like having this horrible, maybe your ego is too big or too fragile. Like you're approaching these girls with this like sensitive kind of butthurt attitude, and
yeah,
this is very unattractive to women, right? They'll pick up on this kind of, like if you approach a girl with this kind of like any kind of sense of entitlement or sense of like, you know, like fragility, they'll be very turned off by it. Like this is, as Jason L says, you must have terrible inner game,
yeah.
100%, right? Like because it's something. Sometimes I catch myself slipping. Right, I'll have a bad day and I'll
Oh
be in
yeah,
a
we
bad
all.
mood. I'll be in a bad mood and I'll notice myself having terrible like success with women. Like with, if I'm doing a bit of cold approach, it's because I have this negative like shitty atmosphere around me. Right,
Yeah,
and women hate that. Women fucking, they want this like happy-go-lucky bad boy, like kind of fun guy. That's pretty much what women want, right?
Yeah,
They want this like cheeky, fun guy to talk to them, right? They don't. That's like that has a good like positive vibe around them, right?
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, 100%.
that's the kind of when I have a lot of success when I'm in a good mood and I'm like kind of like being a bit cheeky, a little bit flirtatious, and women love that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's a famous punchline from Jeffy that I love is whatever you feel, they feel. It's 100%. Like you. The thing is, you got to think about it this way: when you cold approach, I mean, whatever it is, um, they they have to join your party, right? You cannot be like just
right,
like a leech and then just like expecting, "Oh, okay, oh, you guys are having fun. Let me join your fun." That's not how
right,
it works.
yeah,
You have to offer them like, oh, hey, we're having so much fun around here. Why, like, do you want to join us, kind of thing? That's the mentality you should have. If you don't have that, then yeah, you're gonna fail. Yeah, and I
yeah,
mean,
and
of
that's,
course, again, if you have like a crazy good looks, maybe sometimes it's gonna save you. But yeah, you have to look at the whole picture.
yeah, but it just goes to show, like, if the guy, not the real Carl, is actually telling the truth, and he has model looks, just goes to show, like, looks. If your game is bad, like, looks won't save you all the time. Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
you're gonna get away with it sometimes, but you're literally just getting away with it, right?
yeah,
Like, if you've terrible inner game and you have a bad attitude, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot. The girl will see you approach, right, and then she'll be kind of excited. She'll give you a few seconds of 10 seconds. She'll hear what you have to say, and then she'll sense this negative aura from you, and like she'll be
yeah,
very off put by it. She'll almost be scared as well.
yeah.
Girls get scared, especially Japanese girls. If we're here talking about Japanese girls, they'll get scared if they sense like a negative aura, right?
Yeah, and especially they'll be scared of foreigners as well. So yeah,
Yeah, so if they sense this kind of entitlement and kind of like this kind of like fragility, oh man, they get so turned off by it. Like they'll dry up. Their pussies will dry up, and they'll just try and remove themselves.
oh
Like
yeah,
their body language will show you that they're trying to just remove themselves from the situation. Like they'll like just start edging away from you, turning
yeah,
away and stuff. That's when you know your game's off. If girls are giving you that, if girls are consistently giving you that body language, you need to work in your inner game, or you need to
yeah,
you need to talk to me, and I'll figure out what your problem is, because um, sometimes guys don't know exactly what their issue is. They need like someone to tell them.
yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
of course, 100%.
And yeah, so that's what we were saying like earlier. Like there's like levels to game. Um, so like, what would you say your how do you game these days?
I mean, yeah, your looks they change over time, right? So I'm not gaming the way I was gaming back like 15 years ago, right? So right now my gaming is yeah pretty much chill. So like first of all, I don't do night games so much. I'm recently it's more about day game because it's more chill and goes with your aura and what you like, right? Like for example, I'm not so much into just like hooking up and having just like a one lay and that's it. I'm rather interested in having like plates, right? Again, Rollo
Uh,
Tomasi spin plates. So yeah, it's definitely more chill. I cold approach a girl, I don't know, at the supermarket or I mean everywhere I go, that's fine. But yeah, I don't do yeah night game or you won't see me running down the street running after a cabajo and then monologuing for like 30, I don't know, like 15 minutes. And yeah, I won't be doing that because, first of all, that's not what I want. And then, yeah, I think it's a little bit off, right? And doesn't match with my character, right? So again, yeah, you got to find the type of game that suits you, and you got to understand that that's going to change over time. Um, yeah.
right.
Otherwise, yeah, game can be an addiction. I think yeah, every experienced gamer can say that yeah, sometimes you'll just like I don't know, you got to go to work, but you see that cute girl over there, and you're like, oh shit, I got to approach. So yeah, you got to be aware of those things as well. So definitely now, yeah, way more chill, less approaches, but then my ratio is going up, right? I think when you're experienced, you're looking at the risk return on investment. Basically, I'm not going to spam approach like 100 girls and get I don't know 80 rejections, whatever. You got to look at the body language. You're going to pick up on so many clues that yeah, makes it easy for you because yeah, I mean everyone is different.
Yeah.
That's how I view it. Yeah.
You can once you've been like had a lot of experience with cold approach and game, you can level you can like bring down the amount of approaches you do
Yeah.
like a lot, like because you've become so experienced with dating. You've done so many approaches that you kind of like you can understand female body language, and then you can basically increase your probability. Your ratio can increase,
Yeah.
because you're making kind of selective, like high quality approaches, right?
Hmm.
um but when you first start off in game, it's kind of like you should pretty much get a lot of reps in my opinion,
Yeah.
because like it's like you don't have that. You need to learn, basically. You
Of
need to
course.
learn like about female body language, about their behaviors, about what works, what doesn't. And you won't get that if you're just selectively approaching that every now
Of
and again,
course.
right? you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. As a beginner, you have no choice. You gotta yeah, there's a numbers game, right? Again, you can be smart about it, but as a beginner you cannot avoid the numbers game. I mean, even as an experienced guy, like the numbers game will still be there because yeah, maybe the girl you're going to approach is not into you, but she's going to give you clues and you're going to be able to pick up on those clues like very fast. um, yeah, just like, hey, what's up? And you can see like within the 3 seconds, oh no, she's not that interested, so that's fine. I mean, it's there's a debate there because it's true that if you insist and you because maybe she's afraid or she doesn't know you that well and you gotta make a good impression, that kind of thing. I mean, it's yeah debatable, but all in all, if you as long you gotta have empathy, right, for the person in front of you. Like you got to ask yourself, well, like, am I bothering this person? And I think
Right.
a lot of guy that get it wrong in Japan is Japanese people are so polite. She's basically she's rejecting you politely, but you don't see that. You're like, oh, she's still here, she's not running away from me, so that means she must be interested, right? That's not what's happening, right? And then you'll have I mean, you'll understand that over time, but yeah, she's going to give you her contact details and she's like completely ghosting you and stuff like that. And you're gonna ask yourself, oh, why did she give me her contact details, right? Well, that's
Right.
because she rejected you politely. That was yeah, the that's the way she is, like womanese, right? Like I mean, in Japan, of course, yeah. So you got to be aware of that. You got to understand that. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll come off as creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like one of the things is the most valuable thing is it comes down to social calibration, doesn't it? It's like
Yeah.
when you're able to understand, and I personally, it's one of my strongest points in game. Actually, it's one of my very very strong points. Is when I absolutely know when a girl is not interested in me.
Yeah.
um, and I can very much over for doing thousands of approaches, like hooking up with hundreds of girls. I understand when a girl is like being polite and just
Yeah.
she's still not interested, um, But then on the other hand, I know when there's a chance. You never count your chickens before they hatch because you've never smashed a girl until you've smashed. But I know when a girl is not going to smash. Like I know when there's no possibility.
Yeah.
I almost know, like, you can never be 100% accurate, right? Because you
Yeah.
never
Of
know at
course.
the end of the day. But you can, you can get very good at it, right?
Yeah.
At kind of summing them up very quickly, like within the first few minutes of, you kind of,
Hmm.
I'm at the point now where I'll exit, from an interaction very quickly
Yeah.
if I know the girl isn't. Well, sometimes you've no choice but to exit because they'll literally ghost you. But there's other times when they'll kind of be receptive to you, And at that, but you're still not getting those very, those friendly kind of, those kind of signs and signals that they're very interested, such as smiling, laughing, giggling. So
Yeah.
whenever I do that, like my way of going about it is, since I approached, I'll always shoot my shot, because you never know. I'll like, if I recognize that it's going badly, and I feel like I'm kind of bothering her, I'll say, do you have Instagram? And I'll just try and exchange the Instagram. If they say no, I don't push it, because I don't think it's extremely rare. Like, I'm not gonna say never, but I would say it's extremely rare that I've ended up smashing a girl that, like, has rejected an offer to exchange contact details. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah. Can you say that again? Sorry.
I would say it's extremely rare. It almost never happens that when it comes to the point of you asking to exchange, like, Instagram or Line or whatever, or Messenger, and they say, no, sorry, I don't have Line, or I don't have Instagram, you always almost never end up hooking up with one of those girls. So you might as well just exit at that point.
Oh
Would you
yeah.
agree?
Oh, I agree, 100%. Yeah, because
Yeah.
basically when she's telling you like, "Oh no, sorry, oh I don't have Line," or she's basically like bullshitting you, right? Even if she tells you, "Oh, I have a boyfriend," yeah, that's she's being polite, basically, and like, "No, sorry, I'm not interested." Because you have to look at it like the other way around. If she's interested, she's gonna make it easy for you as well, right? So again, I mean, we could talk. About this for hours, of course, especially like the boyfriend question. It's a very good question, and there's various layers to that. But being good at game, you're going to be able to recognize the situation, and yeah, I'll be like ejecting from sets like as soon as I approach, or sometimes I did not even approach. Like, for example, you'll be walking down the street, so you make your move, you start walking towards her, and you can see her, she's like getting out of the way or something like that, because she knows
Ah,
you're going to approach her. Then, of course, I'm going to abort the approach. I'm not going to go and bother her.
yep.
So, yeah,
This is
that's when you can tell that a guy is good at game, definitely.
this is high level
Yeah.
social
Oh, yeah.
calibration.
Oh, yeah.
High level. And a lot of people, a lot of guys, some idiots would say, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
pushing out." No, you're just so
Oh,
high level. You're
yeah.
so good at game. Like,
Yeah.
you're just not going to waste your time. You're really
Yeah.
good at game. Like, it's not like, "Oh, you should approach anyone. You can turn the situation around."
Nah.
No, when you've done thousands of approaches, which I'm sure you've done at this
Yeah.
point,
Oh, yeah.
you've been gaming for years.
Yeah.
So, like, I've certainly done thousands of approaches.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have no idea how many, but certainly thousands. Um, like, yeah, just like you said, sometimes you don't even need to approach.
Yeah.
Like you, exactly like you described. Like, you'll be just about to approach a girl, and
Mhm.
she'll start, like, walking faster, and it's like,
Yeah.
get out of here. Okay, forget
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Eh, eh,
I'm not going to give you the satisfaction,
oh, yeah. And
and
you
I'm
gotta,
not going to waste my time either. So.
yeah, you got to look it that way. Like you got to look it from a high value guy perspective. Can you imagine like a high value guy having money, having chicks like running down the streets
It's
after a
so
girl
bad.
that is like giving you clear signs of that she's not interested? I mean, of course you can like sneak your way in, whatever, but she can't really, yeah, like respect you, right? Like for that, that's
Oh,
again, that's not like genuine burning desire. So yeah,
such low value behavior. It's
yeah,
so low value. Running down the street after a girl that's running away. That's creepy. Like, that
yeah,
is creepy. I don't.
oh yeah,
That's a
oh yeah,
strategy. I just, like, even if that strategy worked, like, there's things in game, like, where it's like, even if it worked, I don't want to
yeah,
be really
oh
involved
yeah,
in it, because it's
yeah,
still low value. Like, even if it works, sometimes it's gonna work. It's like, you know, famous Rollo Tomasi quote again. Like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like, for
oh
those
yeah,
kind of things. Like, it's like, okay, it might work sometimes, right? It might work sometimes, right? You could turn it around. But
yeah,
ultimately, if you're going to make game a part of your lifestyle, you don't want to make that kind of thing a habit, right?
nah,
You
nah,
don't want to make that
yeah.
um, part of, like, your strategy. So you just want to avoid doing that.
Yeah, because
Even
you're
if
gonna, yeah, yeah, because you're gonna become bitter for sure. like hey, I'm investing time, I'm running after her, whatever it is, and then at the end like you don't smash, then you're going to become bitter, that's for sure.
Yeah, but
And there's like various levels to that. Like you'd be at a bar and you'll see like a guy like keep on talking to the girl when you can clearly see she's not interested. That's not good as well. You need, yeah, like you
yeah,
said, calibration is king.
yeah. So there's a whole spectrum of guys that some guys are like terrified of the approach. They'd never even like they'd be the complete opposite, right? They would
Yeah,
never like they don't even want to approach the girl.
yeah,
Then on the other spectrum, so that's an example of bad game. But then on the like kind of the polar opposite, the guy that he doesn't necessarily have a problem approaching, and he'll do the complete opposite. Like he'll be so uncalibrated that he'll like be running down the street after the girl trying to talk
yeah,
to her. And it's like they're both fucking terrible. Like
yeah,
they're both bad. Like and because one guy's too shy to even make an approach, the other guy's a fucking idiot, like running after the girl.
yeah,
Like just zoom out and look at what's going on. Like you're running down the street after a girl. Like
yeah.
it's absurd.
Yeah,
It's,
especially there's one thing that, of course, like let's say, okay, like probably like everyone has done it before. I mean, if you're a good gamer with a lot of experience, you see a girl like I don't know, like 20 meters ahead of you, and she didn't see you. That's fine. You can run and then like
that's
catch up.
different.
That's different, right? But
That's
let's
different.
say she sees you and she's like yeah avoiding you. And then you're now like the creepy stalker, like following her. That's sad. Yeah,
Yeah, that they're two different scenarios. Like,
yeah,
yeah, so it's good that you highlighted that because they're two different. We're talking about when you approach a girl and she sees you in the corner of her eye and
yeah,
she starts walking faster trying to avoid you and you
yeah,
still pursue her trying to talk to her.
yeah.
That's creepy. That's low value. That like zoom out and you're the guy like stalking her, like creeping down this, like run, like some of these guys are running after these girls. You see it in
Oh yeah,
Shibuya, different parts of Tokyo. It's like this is like, yeah, you kind of understand why game. This is why guys should learn game so they don't do that.
yeah, yeah.
So
You just like
they're not
embarrassing yourself.
behaving in ways that aren't appropriate, that are like genuinely harassing girls. Like
Yeah,
you don't want to be in the category where you're at the point of you're actually harassing girls. Like
yeah, yeah. That's a very good question. What is the difference, right? Like, what's the difference between a cold approach on the street and like street harassment, right?
mm,
That's a very good question that yeah, as a gamer, you gotta ask yourself.
yeah. Because like obviously I'm a day gamer, so like I have absolutely I there's nothing wrong with trying to talk to someone. We're
Yeah,
human. Like you shouldn't fit. Like that's the one thing. Like a lot of guys are at the point where they're because the media is everyone, all the mainstream media, all the Hollywood. It's like it's a gynocentric society, so they're trying to stop guys completely from doing cold approach, right? And the reality is there's nothing wrong with doing cold approach, but if you take it too far and you start bothering people that don't want to talk to
yeah,
you, that's different. We're
yeah,
not, my thing is like trying to teach guys like in a calibrated, socially adjusted way to like talk to girls, like and understand when they're being receptive, when they're not, and it's just an extremely effective way to get laid. Like, and
oh yeah,
it's just yeah, it's the best way in my opinion, and I've been doing it for years. For some guys, if they're extremely good looking and all this, online might work better for them. But I think for vast majority of guys, if they learn to day game, they can just punch up. They can get much better women than they can with online dating, etc. Um,
oh yeah, 100% for sure. Yeah,
like if you're an average looking guy, and I mean average as in like you're average when you kind of looks max. Let's just say you're fit and you're dressed well and you're still average, then day game is for you.
oh
Like
yeah,
for sure. Like
100%.
day game is like boom. Like you can still get really hot girls, but you're gonna struggle like with online and social media and all that if
Yeah,
you're average. And I mean average when you've already kind of like genetically average, like
hmm, yeah,
uh, and you can really overcome that those shortcomings. And it's not even shortcomings if you're average, but even if you do have shortcomings, you can overcome them with day game cold approach, like real life, because it's different, right?
Of
Like in
course, yeah.
real life, it's completely different. The dynamics are different.
Yeah, I mean, she's gonna pick up on so many clues that yeah, you have like again interpersonal skills. You're calibrated, and yeah, and I mean, you're gonna use those skills like everywhere at work with friends. That builds your confidence. I mean, it's not only just about like gaming girls; it's about like life in general, right? You're gonna speak up. You're gonna be yeah. So definitely, yeah,
Yeah, it just helps you out in all different aspects of your life. Um, yeah, man, I feel like we didn't we we've had a good chat. Like we've been going for an hour, but yeah, man, we should definitely talk again. More about Japanese games. So we kind of
yeah.
talked a general like we talked in general, but it was good, man. It was a good chat.
Yep,
Um,
no problem. Yeah, each topic, yeah, we could talk for hours, of course, like and yeah, and dive into like the different categories of course, like the Japanese girls, they're all different, and the way you game girl A is not the way you're gonna game girl C, that kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah. There's so many layers to it, man. Like, I
oh
mean,
yeah,
even age group, like
yes,
it's like you got to approach it completely differently.
yeah,
Like the way you'd approach a 20-year-old girl is completely different to the way you'd
yeah,
approach a 30-year-old girl.
yeah.
Like they're both at different points in their life. Yeah, it's just
Yeah, for sure. As long as you have the correct mindset, yeah. If you're getting with the correct mindset, then yeah, you can do good. But you always have to yeah remember there's also reality, right? So don't be the disconnected guy, just like goofing around and being obnoxious and stuff like that, right? So yeah, that's a
yeah,
thing that we don't hear that often from guys that teach games. So I think it's a very good point to make.
100%. Yeah, man. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on. You're not part of you don't really teach any of this, or you don't have a YouTube channel, so you can't really shout out your page or anything like that. But next time maybe we'll chat again. So it'd be
Yeah,
cool to have you
yeah,
on another time.
yeah, no problem. Yeah,
Talk
I mean,
about
I've been like teaching friends basically because, of course, like all the guys around me always ask me like, "Oh, hey, how you do this and stuff like that." So I've been yeah teaching friends, like a few guys.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe at some point I'll come up with a quick guide because it looks like there's the need for it. But yeah, sure. I mean, as of now, I'm just like chilling, and like I said, I'm not. I don't have like crazy. I'm not into orgies. I'm not into like because some guys they'll have like crazy taste, right? I'm just like yeah. If I'm spinning plates, that's good enough for me. So again, like every guy is different. Yeah, just
And
think about it, know what you want, and yeah, you'll be good.
yeah, but even spinning plates is out of the imaginations of the vast majority of men. So
Oh yeah, of
that's
course,
that's
of course, of course.
even
I understand. Like,
you
oh
thinking
yeah,
that's vanilla or that's like normal, like that's like completely not normal for the most of
yeah, true.
the vast majority of men. Like they're just like they think the idea of them spinning plates is like so taboo, and you can't,
Yeah,
it's like
of course.
cheating, and it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Oh
could
yeah.
never be that guy. Maybe they
Yeah.
really want to do it, but they think, oh, I could never be that guy. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, of course, and, and,
yeah,
and, and yeah, and there's a way to frame it as well. You got to be open about it as well. You're not like lying around and stuff like that, right? I mean, you have that the word in Japanese like sefure, right? Like sex friend.
mm,
So the way you market it is very important because, of course, if you're like going around and lying to girls, just like, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to be your kareshi kanojo, your boyfriend girlfriend, then you're putting you're going to run into problems later. So there's a way to do it as well. But again, we can talk about that another time. But
yeah,
yeah, you,
yeah,
you, you
man.
got to be smart about it. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll run into problems if you're being disingenuous.
Yeah.
Just be, there's a lot of layers. We can talk about it. We can talk about it another time.
Sure.
In more detail, if you'd be down.
Yep.
But yeah, man, we'll cut it there. And so, all right, guys. So check out the links in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will be back tomorrow for another episode of Player Life. So until then, peace out, guys. Bye bye.